Yine, yine, yine.
Hello everyone, Pantoufleee here today for a new preview in which we're going to talk about the 7.3 update that Wargaming announced in their stream and also in the game a couple of hours ago by now. And let's not make you wait any longer, we have the Kranvagn for the 7.3 update. Finally, the tier 10 Tech Tree Swedish tank is coming into the game. This tank main characteristics are probably the fact that it's an auto-reloader tank, therefore same mechanism as the one we have already on the Progetto 65. It has an amazing turret armor, but also an amazing gun depression. This is gonna be an L-down king, but we're gonna have to wait for it to be implemented to know if they buffed or not the DPM, because if you remember, when the tank was in test, it was really awful. It had nearly less than 2k DPM, which was horrible for a tier 10. But overall, if Wargaming did something about that, we can expect the tank to actually be a really good one. Probably not destroying the place the T-57 Heavy and the MX-50B already had in the game, but it's possible that it's gonna be a real contester. Now, of course, if Wargaming is implementing the new tech tree line with the Swedish, they are gonna implement the Emil 1951. We talked about it a couple of months ago, I think, on the channel, and it's basically a tier 8 Swedish premium tank with auto reloader, great turret armor, great gun depression, pretty similar to the tier 10, and it's probably gonna come in the shop. I think it's gonna be here not this Friday but the upcoming one, simply because Wargaming tend to want to make a lot of money out of these new updates because they know a lot of people are playing, and therefore the best way for them to sell this tank is probably to put it as soon as possible, therefore next Friday. I really have high expectations about this tank simply because I would love to get a premium tank at tier 8 that is Swedish, and I really hope it will be a good one in this game. We don't know yet because we didn't have access to test or anything like that concerning the tank, because I think it's only playable on the Russian server for the testers, but overall this tank seems to rock, but we'll have to wait to know. But don't worry, I will do a video, an intro video on the tank regardless. Maybe one last thing to add is that these tanks are gonna be from the European tech tree. I thought that we were gonna start maybe a Swedish nation that will have their own icon in the tech tree, but it seems like it's not. It's going into the European, starting from the tier 6, the STRV-74, and we talked about all these tanks in the past on this channel, therefore I'm not gonna bother explaining once again all the characteristics of all these tanks. Also, it seems like these tanks will be able to get access to the special consumables that were previously allowed only on British and American tanks. That's some good news, but I don't feel like these ones will be useful in any ways because we're playing a heavy tank, except maybe the one allowing you to move faster, the speed boost thing. This one could be a great one for this tank as it doesn't have the same mobility as the 50B and the T-57 Heavy. And also one last thing, the special provisions. It's a fish, grilled salmon to be mostly precise. I think it's cool. It's cool to see a difference between the one going through Italian that had, if I remember correctly, they had cheese, parmesan we say in France. I don't really know how we say it in English, but we can say parmigiano reggiano. That was not racist, by the way. And yeah, here we have the grilled salmon, which is gonna be the special consumable that allows you to get 10% to crew mastery more, which is something you definitely need to have on all your tanks if you want to be a good player. Now, as you can see from the live stream, they are playing with the tier 8 of the new tech tree branch of Swedish tanks, and it seems like this tank doesn't have an auto reloader. It's an auto loader, a traditional one, the same you have on the MX-5100, for example. Not a problem to me, as only the tier 9 and the tier 10 of the branch will have auto reloaders, but it raises questions toward the Emil 1951. It was supposed to be an auto reloader because it's the same as the World of Tanks PC, but if Wargaming decides to put it as an auto loader instead of an auto reloader, it's gonna lose its taste, you know. I mean, we wanted this tank to be an auto reloader simply because that's what is the closest to the tier 10 that actually has one. Of course, I can understand Wargaming choice on this one because having a broken turret armor combined with an auto reloader at tier 8 could seriously damage the matchmaking, and I think that they know what they're doing on this one. So regardless of if the tank is gonna be auto loader or auto reloader, I'll do a video about it and tell you if it's worth it or not to try it. Now, aesthetic talking, we have two legendary camos coming with the Kranvagn, the tier 10. We have this one which represents the Swedish flag, pretty cool in my opinion from Wargaming to do that. I just hope they will do the same for every nation so we can run around with our flags being some real patriots. But we also have another one which looks like a lizard, which is really weird. I don't know what to feel about this one. If it's really detailed from the front and looks like a real lizard, it could be really interesting because it would be the first tank ever in the history of World of Tanks Blitz at tier 10, because we already have the T-54E2 Shark, but that would be a premiere at tier 10 to have a camo that really looks like a beast. So I'm pretty excited for this one, a little bit more than the Swedish one, because Swedish flag, I mean, I'm not Swedish, it's probably Swedish people that are gonna use this one. But yeah, the lizard one, pretty cool in my opinion, even if at first I was a little bit shocked, as much as you are probably right now. Now, talking once again about the Kranvagn, I'm sorry, that's the main feature of this update, you have to understand one thing. I told you that Wargaming were probably working on a new DPM on this tank. That's what testers told me. And it seems like Wargaming didn't change any characteristics of the gun, which makes it one of the worst, if not the worst, DPM at tier 10. 11.3 seconds for the first shell to be reloaded, 3.5 seconds between each shells, and 9 seconds for the second one and the third one. That's way too much in my opinion to make the tank competitive in terms of DPM. But even if you don't have the best DPM ever, as you can see, the turret armor is really strong. It's gonna be an all-down tank simply because if you show your hull, people are gonna be able to penetrate. So you would rather find a position from which you can show only your turret in order for you to bounce literally everything. But be careful, because if you're finding maybe an Ori or any tank destroyer at tier 10 with calibrated shell, they are probably gonna be able to go through this armor, so be aware of that when you're playing it. Now, of course, you still have some weak spots on the turret, but it's easy to hide them. Simply elevate your gun to the maximum when you're reloading, because it will make your turret go lower and therefore people will not be allowed to see your weak spots anymore. That's a really cool trick, but we're going to talk about that probably in the Kranvagn review I will do during the next week. Now, for the update date, the 15th of September. We all expected that, but just a reminder for those of you who don't know how Wargaming works, usually they do a stream and the week after, the Wednesday from the upcoming week, the update drops. So you can expect the update for the 15th of September, and you can expect the Emil 1951 to be in the shop the next Friday, so basically the 17th of September. This video is now over. If you enjoyed, feel free to subscribe, like and share. And for those of you interested in a stream about the whole Swedish line, I will probably do one as soon as the updates drops, if my Wi-Fi is finally here. Thank you all for watching. See you soon.